Hello, you guys. Welcome to my channel. Jesus Wants You. I'm the watchman on the wall, Nikki Hall. Um, Let me first. I know this video is about my testimony. I don't even know what I'm going to title it, but I want to title it something that is definitely going to make people click the button and watch it because it's powerful. It's not about me. It's definitely all about God, and He gets the glory. And I want my Lord and Savior first to know that I am grateful and thankful for what He's done in my life and has done and still doing. Um, and, I confessed this fault before you guys. Um, and that is that. I was actually waiting to tell this testimony, and this month is September the 30th. And what put the icing on the cake last year, 2020, was the month of September, my birthday month. But I did get a birthday present towards the end. And at that time is when things started changing for me, uh, spiritually. I was everything just, like the veil of darkness was lifted, so to speak. Okay. So, I don't know where to start, but just bear with me because there may be a lot of pauses. And I know a lot of people want to hear this, you know. So, in my absence last year, a lot of you were looking for me and you were wondering where I was and what I was doing, if I was okay. You knew that COVID had hit and nobody knew where Nikki was. Where was the watchman on the wall? Where's Nikki Pratt? Some of you knew me as Nikki Pratt. Some knew me as Nikki Hall. Some knew me as Shaniquia, which is my real name, but I hate. And I go by Nikki, by the way. But do know that during last year's process, I missed you guys tremendously, so much. I missed what I was doing for the Lord, street preaching. I missed giving the word. I missed teaching. And it burdened me so bad, you guys. I have to tell this first because I knew I could almost feel the pulling in my spirit that people was wondering where I was. And I'm going to tell you what it felt like. I felt like Elijah in a cave. I felt like that I was in this, in a cave. And like somebody had their hand over my mouth and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't speak. But yet I was still there and I really wanted to talk to you guys. I really want to let you know that I was okay, but yet not okay. Okay. So that burdened me so bad. I would cry and cry and cry and just, oh man, it really just did something to me. I would just cry because I felt like I wasn't me. I wasn't doing what I was called to do. I wasn't being who I was supposed to be. I wasn't giving the word. I wasn't reading my Bible. Oh my God. I shedded so many tears behind it because it burdened me so bad that I knew you guys wanted to know where I was. and wanted to know if I was okay. I couldn't get into my YouTube channel. I couldn't get into my emails. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't get into my phone. It was horrible. Backtracking. So many of you saw the video that I did last year, probably around sometime in March. And I just basically got on here and poured my little heart out. I mean, I bare it all. And I told you what I had been through. Many of you that had watched it. It was about an hour and some long video. I was staying with some family because when I left Tennessee, my daughter and all I know, I felt this urgency in my spirit that I had to go. I had to leave. I left Tennessee. I left everything. I left all furniture. I gave away most everything. TVs, flat screens, computers, uh, my table, chairs. I didn't sell anything. I gave it away. Clothes, shoes, you name it. I took it to the Salvation Army, and the furniture and everything that couldn't come with me. Nothing. I didn't have a U-Haul. All I had was me and my baby and my car. That was it. I took all the little money I had out of my bank account, and it was the day before. It was sunny. The day I got ready to leave, it was snow on the ground. Like, but I didn't care. I told my daughter, we leaving. We're leaving. And the plan was to come back and get anything else that I needed, but it didn't happen like that. Because as soon as I left, a day or two later, tornadoes hit Tennessee, tore it up, a street or two over from where me and my daughter lived. Many of you heard about that. And then COVID hit the same week. Everything shut down. So whether I wanted to go back or not, I wouldn't have been able to go back. So mind you, a lot of you saw the videos that I had did around that time. Prior to that, I would tell a lot of you on my channel that, you know, my commute to work was an hour long. I would get home very, very late. I wasn't able to, I would have to pray all the way to work. When I get home, I wouldn't most times go to bed at 12 midnight. I would have to be up at 4, leaving my house at 5 a.m., sometimes leaving the house at 4 in the morning to do surgery and set up for surgeries and all this jazz. And I was getting worn out. I was tired. I was trying to keep up with the ministry. I had a thyroid problem, and I was over medicated. So the doctor said, just stop taking the medicine for now. So I wasn't due to see this physician until late January. So finally I did see her, and she did put me on a lower dose medicine, but my body was trying to get used to that. In the meantime, I had been trying to fast and pray, and my body was tired. At work, I wouldn't eat most of the time, so trying to fast, and then days that I didn't eat, I lost a lot of weight. And if you look back in the past videos, when I started losing weight, the first place I lose weight is in my face. You could tell, like my cheekbones had got sunk in. I just looked like just washed out. And I wasn't the only one. There were people on my job, and the Lord had warned me about that, because a lot of us, and a lot of you, were oppressed on your jobs. We were being overworked. There were not enough people. It was horrible. So I ended up quitting. And it was a domino effect. After, actually, some people had quit before I did, but after I quit, the next nurse on the side of me, she quit, and then I heard that it just went. So, between not eating, fasting, trying to keep up with the ministry, trying to work, getting home late. Every everything was thrown off. My thyroid levels, everything was thrown off. So, I mentioned a movie to you guys, and the more I watched it, the more fear had set in. I mean, it was weird. And of course, I didn't watch it anymore. And um, at that point, things started happening with me. Like, let me give you an example. I didn't, I couldn't fall asleep most nights. Um, I would want to eat, and then I couldn't eat. And my daughter would, I wasn't working at this point, and my daughter would go to school, and I would be by myself, and I just felt like I was in a hole somewhere, like in bondage. It was just weird. It was the weirdest feeling ever. And long story short, I reached out to a couple of ministers, a friends of mine's, prophetess ministers, talk with them. They pray over me, and I would get better for a little bit, and then I would be like, I cannot do a video right now. I would just keep reading the Bible, and the more I would read the Bible, it was like just, I don't know, like bad news. Just, it was just weird, and I was like, oh God, what is going on? So I became very tearful, and I would cry, and just, I made the decision, long story short, to pack up. I had one suitcase, and I just started giving things away. Me and my daughter, we went around the apartment complex, and we passed out Bible tracts. We posted up things in the on the mailbox, and just warning everybody to repent and turn to the Lord. Y'all know, it was like World Vision Day. I just felt like I still had to do my job, what I was called to do. And after I did that, me and my daughter, I was like, pack what you can. Of course, this child packed so much. She left no room for me in my car. So I had to leave everything I had, because I didn't have anybody. I didn't know anybody to help me move. Um, there was nobody with a truck. The little SUV I had wasn't gonna dare take everything I would wanted to take. I just took all my important stuff, my photos of my children, and excuse me, things of that nature. I gave majority of the stuff away I could. We got on the road. As I was driving here, it was weird. And let me tell you, I had to sing to myself to make me feel better. And something hit my car, hit my windshield, like, pow. It was like something didn't want me to leave, so to speak. My bedroom had become like this eerie feeling. It just was weird. I had to get out of there. Okay. So I was like, I'm not staying here. My daughter don't know anybody, and if something goes down, I got to get out of here. There's an urgency in my spirit, and I'm fixing to go. So I packed my things. I had a huge suitcase, but only like 10 pieces in it. And I had a box with important mail, important bills, pictures, and things of that nature. And I left all kinds of stuff. Okay. So I got on the road. I head here to Shreveport. I get a hotel for me and my daughter. And I let her went and stay with her dad. And I stayed at the hotel. Mind you, I only stayed at the hotel for 3 days. It ended up being 3 days. And then I called my aunt and she said, well, first I went to stay with a friend. No, it was the hotel. And then my aunt called me and said, won't you go stay with your other aunt and your cousins and get out of the hotel? So I did. And then that's when COVID hit, which was the same week. So basically I'm stuck. I shared a bed with my aunt. Long story short, y'all, one thing led to another. I had things stolen from me. My phone started bothering me. Like, I couldn't handle my affairs, important business, and it would bother me so horribly bad. Then I started getting all these phone calls, 666 phone calls. And they would be some bill collectors and um these some people in Tennessee, they couldn't take no for an answer. And I'm saying over I don't have a job. So when I get a job, I can pay you. But right now I don't have a job. So therefore I can't pay you. Well, I don't know what was wrong with them, but they weren't hearing that. It came to the point where my cousin, who is also a nurse, he grabbed the phone and he told them some stuff. And they just kept calling. It was just crazy. My phone, it had got so bad. I took the phone, left it in the kitchen, and left it plugged up, and so I would just have some peace. Mind you, I was in a room sharing a bed with my aunt, who was a little up in age, had a lot of health issues, and she would, try to talk to me, whatever. And a lot of times people come, I would just be quiet. I wouldn't say anything. Sometimes I would cry because I was just traumatized. And long story short, what it was the fact that my hormone levels, thyroid levels, was completely off. On top of being stressed, overwhelmed, not enough rest, needing to pay bills and handle all important business, and you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything. My phone ringing off the hook, my credit going to shambles. All that I had worked for, the Lord blessed me to get on top of things, was just going to shambles. Okay. So I later found out that um, my cousin put a tracking device on my phone. And another cousin, female cousin of mine, we figured it out. Okay, not to mention, I had weird stuff going on with my phone, and I called Verizon, and long story short, they didn't help me not one bit. They actually overcharged me. I was trying to get another phone, and it was just ridiculous. I don't even want to get into that part. But um, a aunt of mine, and this is the mind-blowing part, convinced me to go to um, get some help because they felt that I was depressed. And so I went, and I think I was there 4 or 5 days. And that's all I'm going to say about that part. But fast forwarding, because it didn't stop there. Okay. So I had my twin daughter, the youngest twin, and when she came a couple of times to visit me, I gave her a lot of my important information, and you know, things to handle for me because, of course, I was there. Really didn't want to be there. And a lot of people would see me and say, "You don't look like you belong here. Where are you from?" They actually thought I was a teenager. No joke. And when I told them my age, they was like, "What?" And no, I did not tell anybody that I was a minister. I did not even tell them that I was a prophet. Uh-uh. I was, mum's the word. Okay. So, I leave out of there and I get discharged. I go back to stay with this cousin for a while. Meanwhile, again, things got stolen. There was some issues going on. Fast forwarding, I got an apartment with the help of a friend of mine. Mind you, when I left Tennessee, I had like about it ended up being like $4,800. That was all I had to my name. Now, $4,800, as you know, is really not a lot of money if you don't have a job, if you got a car with a car note and insurance, and you got a child that you have to take care of that is in school. And I kept this money on me. And that's all I can say is on me. And y'all women know where we keep money, right? But it was a suggestion of a cousin of mine to keep the money there because um, I was running around with this purse everywhere I went, and I didn't, want to be walking around with this money. And the reason why I chose to do that because this particular bank I was at was really just, oh my God, mutilating my account, taking my money. And long story short, I was giving away money. I came here with a little bit more than that, but I had gave away a lot of money to people that needed it. Okay. So $4,800 was what I had left. And I walked around with that money all the time. All my important bags and stuff will be in my car. And for like weeks on end, I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to do anything. And my daughter had an accident. And she said, "Mom, can you come get me?" And I'm like, "Where's your, I thought you said, where's your boyfriend?" And she said he was somewhere. Long story short, it ended up where I couldn't come get her. And I tried to get a cousin of mine to go get her, and they said no. And so the next, her boyfriend came and got her. She was with my grandchildren. Turned out they were okay. So the next day, I offered to let her borrow my car for a few days or a couple of weeks. And I said, "I need you to bring this car back now because I have appointments and things and business to take care of myself." She said, "Okay." So I'm still at this cousin and aunt house. And I had heard that she was riding around in my car in the midst of heightened COVID, going to this place, going to that place, and doing all sorts of things. And I'm like, "Nikki, you just let this child hold your car, and she's not on your insurance." And I think at this point, I don't even know if I wouldn't, maybe she did have her driver's license, but that's right. That's what it was. She wasn't on my insurance, and it just was bugging me. So I went over, had somebody take me to where she was to get my car back. Mind you, y'all, she was pissed. She was mad because I'm getting my car back. Fast forwarding, I got the car back and I started, forgive the camera shaking, I got the car back and I started going places and started feeling more comfortable. I did get an apartment, but y'all, this particular apartment, the people was so evil. They put me back on an end in a corner where there were dope dealers. They were doing dope, smoking weed like a train. They were doing things to make me mad, try to, and I ignored it for a while. I just wanted to keep the peace. So the Bible said, blessed are the feet of the peacemakers, right? So they would do things like put weed on a plate and set on a paper plate and put it by my door. Mind you, it would be the same type of paper plates that my cousin had given me and put it by the door to make it look like that I was smoking weed. That made me mad. Okay. So I had been, things had been stolen from me so bad that I would literally carry around a big duffel bag with all my important documents in it. And fast forwarding, my identity had been stolen. Um, what else? I could tell that somebody was going in and out of my apartment. These people would stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning harassing me outside of my window, making all kinds of noise. I couldn't hardly see anything. They would flick their lights. They would just, it was just horrible. So I would call a couple of people. I know my ex-brother-in-law, he came one night. He's a big, tall, stocky guy. And you know, he was like, well, Nikki, I could, stay in the living room and just, just to make sure you're safe or whatever. And I said, okay. But mind you, I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't pay my car note. So there was one part of me couldn't sleep because I was worried, oh, the repo man gonna come get my car. So that was bothering me too. And that was all I had, of course, with the apartment. And at that time, these people were so evil. I mean, they would sit their children's bike by my door, the front of my door, to where I couldn't get in. So you walk through the apartment complex. I was on the bottom floor, and there was an apartment across from me, then me, and then the stairwell, and then somebody upstairs. Well, you had to kind of walk back, and then it was this wall that separated. I mean, that was on the back, and it really was nowhere to go. Meaning, once you got into my apartment, that was your only way in. Okay, and my apartment was up under like a stairwell, and you got all these guys that live there that play all this loud music, deal drugs, and they just couldn't stand me. Why? I don't know. I didn't do anything to them. Well, yeah, I do know. Correction. It was because the light in me, they couldn't stand. How you meet a person and you don't know them and you feel that type of way? Well, that would be why. So, long story short, I came home and I knew that somebody had been through my apartment. I had left one day and came back. They was steady doing things to harass me. I would go to the office. My mailbox was never fixed. Mail would come to my mailbox. The mailbox would be open. I went to the office, I don't know how many times to complain. I would come home. If I came home a little late, they would make sure I wouldn't have nowhere to park my car, and I wasn't going to park it way around somewhere else, so I would have to go get a hotel. Let me tell you something. I can't begin to tell you how many hotels I end up getting through the summer. Most of the times, you guys, Nikki was living on the street. Nikki was homeless with an apartment that I couldn't even stay in. The office crew had friends that lived in this particular apartment that was like in on it too. They would get mad because I don't know if they had something going on with the people that was doing drugs and getting a little share, but they didn't have me at heart. They wasn't trying to help me. You know what I'm saying? I had become the problem of complaining. And then when they would ask, well, can you tell us what's going on? I wasn't finna tell them nothing had to go into an apartment and there was no back door. I once I'm in there, they could come behind me and do whatever they had to do to me. And I was in there by myself. No. So a lot of times I would go somewhere and I would go somewhere where I felt safe. My daughter didn't want to stay with me because she didn't feel safe. And y'all, I was paying rent on something. If I had to count how many times I stayed in that apartment, I had it almost 3 months. It was 10 days, maybe 10 days out of 3 months. So by that third month, June 1st, I moved out. Okay. When I moved out, I went to go stay with my cousin who helped me find out that my phone was tracked, bugged, however you want to put it. And when I let my daughter borrow my car and I went to go get the car, she was pissed. All of a sudden, there was like this war. She didn't want to talk to me. She was accusing me of things. Um, there was a period where her and I didn't talk. Um, my cousin, who I was staying at the time, she was on my side for a little while, and then the tables turned and things switched. Because when I started seeing her son do certain things when she wasn't there, she wasn't trying to hear it. You know, it became a point where don't say anything towards my son. So I know how parents can be when it comes to them and their children, when they think that, you know, my child would never do this. So I wasn't finna have that. So some issues happened and I got put out of her apartment. I went and stayed with my mom, where people were pushing me to stay. And I was trying to tell them, no, it is not time. Going there is not going to make me any better. Mind you, the places I would go, because I was so low on my levels and my thyroid, I would be severely cold. Cold. Okay? To where my body would hurt. I mean, like really, really bad. I mean, it would just be cold. And, you know, I'm trying to stay somewhere. I'm sleeping on the couch, trying to stay off the streets. And I'm going to get to the streets, okay? And I was going from my sister's house to my cousin's house to my mom's house. And I go stay with my mom, and she was controlling and being a little manipulative, and she put me out, and then she made a threat to me, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. And called me all kinds of names. Mind you, she put me out. I end up being on the street. A aunt of mine said, I can't let you come here because, you know, I'm married, da da da. I ain't trying to come between a marriage. That was beside the point. But what got me, you guys, was a lot of my family would put me out, okay? And then would turn around and call each other and ask each other, well, have y'all seen Nikki? You know where she at? Do you know where she's staying? Now, I done told y'all many times I would have to get a room for a night or two, but I felt like that I had this money on me that, you know, I wouldn't tell nobody. But then there were people in the apartments that would follow me because they somehow would see me with these bags and assume that I was doing drugs or something. So every time I would go to the store, they would see me pull out $100 bill. And I wasn't trying to keep doing that because I was by myself. But every time my daughter needed me, I would pull out this money. And one day, many of you probably know Henry and Monique. I had got another phone, and I remember jotting some numbers down and of important that I may forget. And I called somebody that had Henry and Monique's number because I felt like, did the rapture happen? Did I miss it or something? Where is everybody? I couldn't get a hold of nobody. Nobody would answer her phone. I would call Cindy Morales, Sabrina Franco, Dana Thomas. I couldn't get anybody. I'm like, oh my God. Like, then I couldn't get into my YouTube channel. I just felt, like my whole world was caving in. Like, what is going on? So when I finally got a hold to one of my subscribers, she got in touch with Henry and Monique. Monique called me. Oh my God, I was elated to the point where I just broke down in tears. And then Monique was like, Nikki, are you okay? Do you need any money? And I was like, you know, in the part of me I didn't want to say, if somebody was around me, I would say I didn't have any money because I knew there were many nights I spent on the street and I didn't want anybody to know that I had money. You know what I'm saying? Girl, you sleeping in your car on the streets. You can't let anybody know you got money. You know what I'm saying? So when Monique asked me that, I was like, no, Monique, I don't need any money. No, I don't need any money. That's all I would tell her. Okay. But she said that she was going to get her husband to call me and whatever about some things. And we had a conversation. I kind of, I think it was left to where she was going to call me back. And meanwhile, that phone had become stolen. And I'm going to fast forward and get there. Okay. But I could no longer contact her. And she gave me her new number, but it was so much going on with my phone. I had a friend of mine who would say, Nikki, baby, what is going on? You call me. And no, she said that she was getting these strange text messages from somebody. And I'm like, Tanya, you know that is not me. I would never text you at 1 o'clock in the morning. And she has a husband. That is not me. Somebody had changed on my phone. My greeting was saying things that I did not say. It wasn't my voice. Me and my cousin end up putting the phone in a Bible because it was like the phone was possessed. Okay? And I know a lot of this probably sounding crazy, but this is what I went through. I'm sorry. So, um, there was a lot of times where I would spend time, I had to give up the apartment. Okay. So this particular cousin that I was staying with, I didn't want to come between her and her son. She was at work, and one night he was doing things to just bother me, manipulate me. It was just, he was just being, and I couldn't tell her. So one morning she came in and I went outside and she spoke, and I was so full to want to just bust out in tears. I couldn't say anything back to her but shut the door, get my keys and go. So she of course cursed me out and told me don't come back. There I am with a basket of clothes, with my car full of stuff that you couldn't hardly, I mean, it would be hot. I would get tired of sitting in my car crying. There was um, some days, it was a 3-day period where I would spend driving around in circle after circle after circle after circle in this particular neighborhood. because I wouldn't want to sit still at night. I'm not a woman of the night. I didn't know about it. And I would be afraid to get out of my car and go to the bathroom because I was afraid that somebody was gonna come in. There were people messing with my car when I was in these apartments. Okay, big time. And somehow they found a way to get in my car, things of that nature. Um, I had spent one. There was a period where I spent 3 days on the street and didn't use the bathroom in 3 days, going on 3 days. Mind you, my kidneys was really going through. 3 days. Don't ask me how it was done, but it was done. Okay. And I was poisoned on the streets. I would go to certain different restaurants. They would bother me, because it had became the point where that's that girl from the YouTube channel. That's that girl that used to street preach. Um, then it got out that I might was doing drugs and that type not doing drugs, selling drugs. And so, then all kinds of rumors was going out. Basically the enemy's tactic to destroy my character. Okay? So so I would go to like Wendy's, and let me give you a prime example what would happen. What you want? What you say you like? Are you sure you want that? What would you like on it? And then they would do this. And then go act like they did something to it and then give it to me and smile. That whole strip, that whole street knew me because I was on the streets. I was sleeping in my car on a parking lot, in a parking lot, around a bunch of 18-wheelers. One night, one guy got out of his 18-wheeler. He was like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And I woke up. I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Another guy, nice guy. I still have the letter. He was a little curly head white guy. He was very nice. And I had been crying sitting in my car to the point to where I fell asleep. And I guess at that point he had come over to my car and saw that I was asleep. He left a note on my car. And he said, "Ma'am, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. It must be horrible. If you would like to talk about it, my name is Steve. I'm in McDonald's every morning drinking coffee. If you would like to have coffee with me to talk about it, don't be afraid to reach out." Something along that lines. And I was like, "Oh, that was sweet. I needed clothes when I got here. I didn't have any clothes. I looked like a homeless person. I would not buy clothes. The enemy had me just, oh man, like, I wouldn't do nothing for myself. I did it all for my daughter. I wouldn't buy me anything. I had like four things that didn't match. I mean, it just looked tacky. I was riding around sweating like a Hebrew slave, needing a shower, couldn't take a shower, didn't have nowhere to go. And my family would ask where I was. "Where you put me out at?" "On the street. That's where I am." Duh. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it was just horrible. So fast forwarding, I had went to go stay with my sister, okay, my biological sister, and she had this boyfriend that didn't like me. I had a cousin. I'm like, why is it that everywhere I go, nobody like me? But people was telling me that, and I think I even said it myself, it was the reason why I was in Tennessee. And when I got back here, I found that out. Because I didn't know that family could be like that. It's crazy, right? So, I'm hot, you guys. Sorry. So, I went to my cousin's, no, my sister's house, and I was staying there. And I was laying on this sofa, and I had conversations with my sister. My sister would hug me and say, Nikki, you really just need to get back to YouTube. You need to start back ministering. And to confirm that, I had another prophetess, apostle. She was a female. She got on the phone. She prayed with me, and she said, Nikki, you need to get your butt back on that YouTube, and you need to start preaching. And I was trying to tell her, I can't get in my email. My phone is out. Somebody stole my identity. This and that. And that has happened. I had money stolen from me. Da 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 da. And she prayed with me and said what she said. She got off the phone. Blah blah. My cousin and my sister boyfriend would do things to irritate me while she was gone, while my sister was gone. I would try to tell her, but she wouldn't have it. She wasn't listening, you know, because it was her boyfriend. And then she would, it would be a war between, a split between me and my first cousin because he was staying there before I was. I had he sent one of his friends, and I had lost so much weight. And when your thyroid level is very low, I have a little slight mustache like my mom, right? But my mustache had gotten thicker. My voice had got a little more raspier because my thyroid levels was so low. So somebody thought to send this guy in the bathroom on me after I got out of the shower. Yeah. And I tried to tell my sister that it was just, long story short, you guys, I woke up one morning and I heard something that just brought me to tears. I left the house in my car upset. Somehow I ran up on the sheriff, and I was so upset at my cousin, and I was trying to tell them about it. And it was some other issue going on, okay? And down the street. So he was like, "Well, what do you want to do? You want me to take you somewhere? What do you want to do?" And I was just so upset what I heard a family member said. They basically called me a man, you know, that type of thing, and it was just horrible. So, they were just being evil. So I left. As I was turning around, well, the sheriff was talking to me. I got ready to turn around. There was this two black cops, female and a male. They asked me what was wrong. I started talking to them. Somehow they were like, "Well, um," and I told them that what I had heard. And you know how some people can record certain things. This is what my cousin was doing, recording certain things to uh, and making it play so that I could hear it. What do you call it? Like voiceovers? And it was just something so evil, and it upset me. So as I'm telling them that, I'm like, look. Haven't y'all ever heard people do voiceovers? But somehow they had confused what I said to say that I heard somebody coming out of the TV. That's what I found out later that they thought I had said. They was like, "Well, we think you need to go to the hospital, and we think you need to be admitted." I said, "Nope. I know my rights and I don't need to go nowhere. What I need is some rest. I am stressed and I need some sleep. And well, we think you need to take us to one of your family members' house so we could ask them and da 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 da. Now, if something was wrong with me, you gonna let me get in my car and drive and follow me to this family member's house? Well, that's exactly what these two polices did, right? So I go to my daughter's house, the younger twin that was mad at me. She wanted my car, okay? So when I pulled up, she knows that I had been admitted basically just to appease the family, not that I wanted to be there at this first place. So she begins to tell, and I tried to get to her to tell them, don't you dare tell them nothing to have me to go somewhere, because I am not crazy. Mind you, the family was spreading rumors that Nikki was crazy. Okay? So my daughter said, she be paranoid and da 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 da. The police hear that. They put the handcuffs on me, locked me up, put me in the back seat of the police car, wouldn't let me say nothing, explain myself or nothing. And I'm saying to myself, my daughter did this because she wants my car. How did I know that? Instead of her saying, well, mom, I'm going to come there to get you out, or where they taking you to the hospital, I'll bring you some clothes, go ahead and be evaluated, whatever, whatever. You know what she asked? Mama, where your keys to the car? Mama, give me your purse. I wasn't giving her nothing. If something supposed to be wrong with me, I was supposed to be crazy. I wasn't crazy enough to give her my darn keys. She ain't got no insurance. I wasn't crazy enough to give her my what? No, that's mine. So the police took it from me. So it was the word on the street is that woman right there was selling drugs. Gotta be, because she tote these bags around, and she have hundreds. And when she go in these daggum stores, she doing something. So I told the cop, I'm like, look, I got a duffel bag and I got a purse. He was like, you do? I said, yeah. And it's in my car. So he took my purse and put it on the front seat with him. And he was like, you know, we're not locking you up to put you in jail, but we just going to take you to this hospital to have you evaluated. And I'm like, ain't this a blip? So my purse on the front seat, my book bag, I'm assuming it's still in my car. I know he did leave back out of the police car, and what he did after that, I don't know. Because I'm just too outdone. My daughter calls me to be put in the police car. You should be hearing the scripture right now. And they shall cause you to be brought before magistrates in the last days. They shall cause you to be brought before magistrates, blah, blah, blah. But think not what you're going to say, because at that time, the Holy Spirit, blah, blah, blah. That one right there. That one right there. Okay? So mind you, I go to this hospital, be evaluated, and the people on the street that know, that's the girl from YouTube. So Nikki had become very popular on the street. The street, some of the guys that I would see followed me to this hospital. They were watching me in the curtain, and I let one of the nurses know. So they put me, this doctor say, oh, I'm a PEC her, when they found out that this was going on. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not. I was like, nothing. I just need some sleep, blah, blah, blah. No, if you would allow me, I need to draw your blood. Because he thought I was doing drugs. And just to prove a point, I was like, fine. Draw my blood. You ain't finna see nothing. And if you did, somebody put it in me. Because I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. Draw my blood. I don't care. So he drew my blood. Of course, nothing was in it. So I'm in the nut house. All right. Watch this. I'm supposed to be crazy. So they put me in this place in a room by myself. Of course, at this point, I can't believe what happened. I'm crying. It's cold. And they come bring you this nasty looking food. And I'm like, I'm already little. I can't eat. I done lost so much weight. What is this? All I need is my medicine and somebody that actually care. I am actually traumatized. I am going through something right now, and this is not the way to handle it. I'm in the medical field. The people that they referred me to, we would refer our patients to when I was in orthopedics for a psyche valve. So, mind you, long story short, I was there 3 days. My third day, I should have been discharged. There was talk that I was going to be discharged. But I couldn't understand that why the phone was ringing out of control over and over and over. Who they were looking for? Me. And there were a lot of guys, they had me off. You know how they treat and I don't want to say this because I ain't nothing. I ain't nobody. I'm just a roundaway girl. Is what I sort of. But they had me off to myself on a hall with all these guys. Like, what are women at? What am I doing over there? I would go to the try to go to the bathroom. They would follow me to the bathroom. And so they call me in this room, and this nurse say, now, whatever you do, you go in there, you answer that question. I go in this room. Mind you, everybody in there don't like me. This ain't nothing made up. They really didn't like me. I'm like, Lord, what did I do to these people? I don't even know these people, but yet they don't like me. So I would just stay quiet, okay? And cry to myself. They would watch you on crying. She crying again. Well, duh. I'm cold. You don't give me a blanket. Y'all feed me crap. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, mind you, I've been there. So I'm supposed to be crazy, but I've been there 3 days and they haven't given me no medicine. So basically, I'm there to be hidden out from the streets is what they figured out. Because there was a lot of guys that were following me around. That's the girl from YouTube. So in order to reach me, I had a code name. And it had been said in my family, it was something going on, some issues going on. I have to tell you that at a later date. But my code scripture name was Prosper in His Way. Prosper in His way. Okay? If anybody, because it was so many people calling the phone, they had to take the phone off the hook. Okay? So they put me in this room with a panel of doctors, like interns. A lot of them had me on camera. And guess what they asked me to state my name, who the president, da 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 da. I told them, I'm cold. They took my temperature. It was around COVID, 96.5. I'm cold, right? So then they asked, the first question they asked was, we heard you went to Tennessee in a church and told everybody that they were going to hell. I said, now where did y'all get that from? Who told you such thing? I did not. Yes, I did go to this church. No, I did not tell nobody that they were going to hell. That is not what I said. And I'm saying to myself, what? Why are we even having this conversation? First of all. So then they asked, well, what type of work did you do when you were out there? I begin to tell them. And then I said, uh, but I have a question. What are y'all diagnosing me with? Y'all, let's just say they was trying to say that I was legitly crazy. And when they said that, it was all she wrote. I looked at them, I said, let me tell you something. I met a woman in here. Let me tell you why I disagree with that diagnosis. I met a woman in here that went to the hospital for a wound, a area on her leg. And because y'all done diagnosed her with this label behind her name, they immediately brings her here. There's nothing wrong with this woman. And I said, I see that horrible. I see that kind of stuff in the medical field all the time. I have a medical background and I am not crazy. I don't receive that. I don't believe that. And I'm telling you, all that is wrong with me is I've been traumatized. I'm tired. I need rest. And I'm just going on and I'm cold and blah, blah, blah. And then they going to come out and say, well, we think you need a COVID test. I don't need no COVID test. Well, you know you don't have to have symptoms to have COVID. I said, let me tell you something. I have O positive blood. Okay? People with O positive blood don't get COVID. Well, we just think maybe you need to stay here and be quarantined for about 14 days. And I said, I don't. Well, why you don't? I said, first of all, you just heard what my temperature was. It was 96.5. I'm cold. I don't have a temperature. I will not be taking a test. And no, I will not go to a COVID floor. So then this tall doctor, he comes out and say, well, tell us a little bit about what you did in Tennessee and what type of work you did. What were your duties? So I started telling him. And then we somehow get back to my diagnosis. And I said, I'm not receiving that. And I said, let me tell you why. I have a thyroid problem. My levels are low. And when they severely low, they can mimic what y'all are trying to diagnose me with. My doctor, who is an endocrinologist, have told me to watch out for certain symptoms. I'm at that point. I've been here now 3 days. Nobody has given me any of my thyroid medicine. Okay, it has been 3 days at this point. And I was like, something's supposed to be wrong with me, but ain't nobody gave me no medicine. So then they all looking stupid, okay? And then I said, this is another reason why I disagree with that. Because when y'all do that, I said, your word, her word, his word, and all y'all writing y'all's little stories down based off of what I tell you, but all y'all gonna have a different scenario based on what y'all think is going on with me. And I was like, I heard somebody say, uh, the type of condition she have, they can't stand noise, and then start banging a metal pan. Same people can't stand a metal pan banging on the table. Is you crazy? And then they was like, these type of people, they like to be in the dark. I like light. Hello, somebody. So there ain't no way I can be brought with that diagnosis. And another reason why I disagree with that, because low thyroid brings in delirium. And it can mimic, y'all look it up, it can mimic a certain diagnosis. Okay? And I said, once y'all have labeled a person with that in their medical file, it follows them everywhere. And I was like, that would have bearing on my job. A bearing on me trying to get a job. And then another woman spoke up, no, that is not true. I said, yes, it is. And so they went back to asking me about what my work ethics and what my duties was. So I began to answer the question. Tell me why this doctor stood up and says, that's it. That's it, Miss Hall. It is it. This conversation is over. Get up and get out of here. And I was like, come again? I was like, you asked me to answer a question and that's what I did. What did I say wrong? Besides that diagnosis that y'all trying to diagnose me with is not it. I am sane. I am not crazy. And I will not have that diagnosis. Honey, this day I know they told me to get out of there. The conversation was over, and I had told them that I wasn't going to get COVID, so they were mad about I wasn't going to get COVID tested and all that. They were mad about that and shipped my little butt up out of there and then try to give me some medicine, okay? After I had pointed it out. But it wasn't my thyroid medicine. So the nurse said, I don't know what you told them, but they finna ship you off to another facility. I said, I ain't do nothing but answer the question. I said, but it's all good. And I was saying to myself, because my God fights my battle. Now, the whole time, y'all, let me tell you something. This is one thing that I forgot. And I got to tell this. There was a particular dream that I had shared with Henry and Monique, right? And they had told me that somebody was going to try to destroy my ministry, but that the Lord was going to be with me the whole time. That hotel that I was telling y'all about, when I first came here and I stayed, y'all, when I left that hotel and when I went to go stay with my aunt and my cousin, the scent of the Lord was with me. I could smell it. I'm telling you, y'all, it was crazy. I could smell it. And I wouldn't have on a perfume, but it was this beautiful scent that would be so strong. It just smelled like a strong anointing oil. It was wow. Okay. So I would go around my aunt and she was like, you got this scent on you. She said, I said, well, I have this body spray. She said, oh, it ain't it. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is, but it smells so good. Now watch this. My cousin's children, one of their daughters was coming from church. And as I was coming through the kitchen, she saw me. She said, hello, sweet Holy Spirit. That's what came out of this little girl's mouth. She was 11 years old. Hello, sweet Holy Spirit. And that didn't do nothing but confirm that the Lord was with me because I can smell it. And one night I had got up and I walked by one of the little girls' bed, and one of their bodies as I passed by started vibrating like brrr, and I knew then, I'm like, the Lord is with me. Okay? I kid you not. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall and said, I mean, her leg was just, her whole side of body was just vibrating as she was sleeping. Okay? And this scent followed me for days and days on end. And, okay. So mind you, I get shipped off to this other facility. And I'm there 7 days. No medicine. None. They had put me in a room that was ultra so cold. I didn't have any clothes. Neither did my daughter call to check on me to see if I had any clothes. I had on the same clothes. I needed to take a shower. And finally, fast forwarding, my mom, somebody thought to check on me and they would try to call on me and they couldn't get me. And they would tell them that you needed a code. And that code was prosper in his way. Because the people on the street was calling me that's prosper in his way, right? So I was like, I can't talk to anybody. I don't have any clothes. They haven't given me no medicine. My name wasn't even on the room door, and they did that for a reason. And I couldn't understand why there were nurses in there, little orderlies, whatever you call them. None of these folks like me. I was the center of attention for some reason. And I'm like, man, what is up with this? And one of the guys ran over to me, was like, you look like you not even supposed to be in here. And I looked at him, I said, I don't. And there were other women in there. There was some people in there that it legitimately wasn't nothing wrong with. And there was some people in there that was something wrong with. And let me tell you, if the Lord wasn't ministering to me while I was there, these people had demons. That's what was wrong with them. They had demons. They had put me in a room. They would get so mad at me. I hadn't done anything. Let me tell you, do not. If anything, this is what this has taught me. If your family member is possessing something of bipolar, what do they call it? Depression, or any type of mental disorder, and they supposed to be a believer or Christian, don't you dare take them to. Don't even take nobody to them places. Because I'm gonna tell you, all what that is demons. Bipolarism is a demon. Well, Nikki, you probably had a demon. Possibly. I ain't ashamed to tell it. Possibly. But let me tell you, I was intact with my mind. If I was supposed to have been crazy, crazy people don't remember nothing. I wouldn't remember none of that. Honey, I can tell you everything from beginning to end. What happened up in that place. Let me tell you another reason why I don't send your family there. Them orderlies was sleeping with the girls. Having sex with them. Oh yeah, you heard me right. They were having sex with them. And when they tried to blame something on me, and I came out in that hallway and I was crying, and I told them, no, 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 no. They were down there having sex with them girls. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I was telling the truth. They was in there having sex with this white girl and this black girl. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. That's what they was doing in there. They was doing little favors. But see, the Lord was with me. Let me tell you why. There were two nice guys in there. A heavyset white guy that would always be in a wheelchair, and then there was another one that reminded me of kind of like a Kenny Rogers type thing. And I would sit at the table and talk to them. The black people didn't like it. Somehow they done got up in their head that I was racist. So then, you get into these sessions, and then the counselors be like, we want to know what triggers you. I said, what? What do you mean, what triggers me? Well, what triggers you? Because they couldn't get nothing out of me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, my pet peeve is I don't like to see somebody misused, abused, and da 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 da. They had an old woman sitting in a corner, was cold. They wouldn't let us have a blanket, but one blanket, the room would be 50 degrees. Okay? The window would be frosted. We would have one blanket. And then they'll tell you to go take a shower. And I was crying because the old woman was sitting there and she was shaking. And I am passionate about old people. I don't like it when somebody being misused like that. Don't do that. Prophets don't like that. You know what I'm saying? And without me revealing who I was, oh man, it just bothered me. But the poor nice lady turned on me, y'all. I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have, but by the 10th day, somebody bought me clothes up there, and I had some tennis shoes. The woman was asking for my shoes. I don't know if she could wear it or not. And you know, they was just being rude, ugly, mean, and I was just outdone, just totally outdone at the place. And actually, what goes on in the place, I'm like, are you kidding me? And when I say they had put me in a room by myself, the only person room that was cold was mine. They were putting stuff in my food. They would the orderlies would treat me some kind of way, except for like one, this real nice girl. She came over and she held my hand and she said that she knew I wasn't supposed to be there, to keep it together. Don't worry about it. She held my hands and she prayed with me as I cried. And I would sit and I would pray and I would cry. And I would say, Lord, thy word have I hid in thy heart. And oh my God, y'all, it was, I was going through so much. It was like, as the scriptures would come back, like uh my tongues, speaking in tongues had came back, like, oh man, so beautiful. There was a guy, a black guy, that came out of the blue and started asking me something about the Bible. And I said to myself, and I ain't told nobody in here I was a minister, so you know. But this other white guy that was sitting in front of me, the guy came over asking me questions, and my guard was up, and he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, let your guard down, let your guard down. It's okay." But then I became relaxed enough because I started feeling like, you know, everybody in there didn't like me. What you want? It was that type of thing. Now, why you coming to me? What you coming around me for? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, long story short, my phone got stolen in there. $500 got stolen out of my purse. But these guys, these men that I was telling you about, they would buy me chips. They would buy me drinks. I didn't have to worry about anything outside of the food that they would give us. You know what I'm saying? So, long story short, it was like a 14-day type deal. And you could tell that some things was really, really bad. This one girl would go, I mean, they did not like me. You hear me? But there was two students that they actually looked like undercover cops. I don't know. But they were two students. Out of all the people that come in there and all the people that would come in there, there was some people would say, well, you look like you don't belong in here. And then, but these two students come from the school and they come over to sit at my table to play dominoes. And I'm saying to myself, how they know I like playing dominoes? Oh, so we hear that your father is military. I'm like, yeah, he was. What branch? Just asking me all kinds of questions. I'm like, what the? Woo, y'all. What? One, why am I here? Two, why is you asking me questions about my father? Why you want to know what branch? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go make a phone call. And I played dominoes with them, and they was like, we hear you can sing. Can you sing something for us? I'm like, my voice is raspy. No, I don't want to sing. It ain't gonna come out right. So, um, it was just horrible. So while I was in there, my daughter called me, the younger twin, who was mad. Finally, she got through. She said, Mama, I need you to give me the keys. That was the first thing that came out of her mouth. I was like, give you my keys for what? Because you need to move your car where it is. And the police had came by and said if your car were moved, they were going to tow it in. Da, 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 da. I said, well, you know what? They will have to wait because you know where you sent me. And you didn't he call me and ask me if I had in the clothes, but you going to ask me for my keys? Wait till I get out. Okay? So, anyway, I found out why when I got out. I had to have my ex-brother-in-law to get me because I couldn't find a soul to come get me up out of there, right? So I get out of there and I get to my car. My brother-in-law took me to my car. My window is broken out of my car. Now watch this. While I was in that facility, I remember them asking me, Nikki, what kind of car you drive? And I figured it was something dealing with my daughter or they needed to know. So I told them. I said, Infinity QX70. Why? And I noticed they were on their phone a lot. And then I said later on, I wonder why they asked me what kind of car I drive. My window ended up being broken into. I had to pay for that. Okay? I went back to my mom's house. I did not want to go, but I went. Fast forwarding, it was not a good idea. Fast forwarding, it ended up to where I would go buy my food and it had got down to all I had. But by the time I made it to this facility, y'all, all I had was, because I had that apartment, that money I had went towards that apartment. So at this point, I had lost some of the money. Some of the money was stolen in that facility. By the time I got to my mom's house, all I had was $1,300. And I was still trying to hold on to it. And mind you, I was giving a lot of money to my daughter to help her with things at school and things of that nature, and putting gas in my car. I had to get the window fixed. And I was staying with my mom, getting gas, trying to, and finally, I was able to get insurance on the car. Well, as soon as I got insurance on the car, the day that I got insurance on the car, my car, me and my friend saw like a guy that looked like he could be a repo guy way down the street. And I was like, well, I saw that man over here before, but he went ahead and left. And she was like, you don't want to go post your car up somewhere just in case? I was like, this is all I have. And I was like, I'm still practically homeless. My mom wouldn't let me use her address for nothing. You know, I couldn't get anything sent. Nobody could give me anything or whatever. I couldn't handle bills and have it sent to me nowhere. And I went to have the insurance. My car got repoed when I went into this hair store. And I just felt funny. And some said, go to the front and check on your car. I wasn't in this hair store 3 minutes. And I went to the front to check on the car. And he had it latched down. But he was nice enough to let me get my things out of the car. I called my mom. My mom was like, oh, man, you know. I called my friend. My friend, you know, she was like, I told you you should have went and we should have took it to the next city over. Mind you, the car was gone. October 13th. Yeah. So, of last year. So, I had got down to my last $100 bill. And because I had to buy my own food, I was buying food. I didn't hardly have any clothes. I had went by a place and kind of got like 2 outfits and some things that I needed, some things for my daughter that she would need or whatever. But now at this point, I had no car. I was trying to find a job. And I got my ex-brother-in-law to help me get into my phone. Somebody had helped me get into my emails later. And somebody said, and I just felt like, oh, okay, things are looking up, you know. And I opened up my phone and someone said, check your PayPal. I had 900 and something dollars in my PayPal. All that time from May or March up until the day I found it, which was in November of last year. All that time, that money had been sitting there, and I didn't know it because I couldn't get into it before then. And I kind of look back at, you know, I was just thanking the Lord because I was like, Lord, right in the nick of time, I was down to that $100 I had $1 left. That was it. And I checked my PayPal and the money was there. I had some faithful subscribers that had been sending me money. Miss Linda Jones is one of them, and I didn't know it. And I was like, oh my God, if it wasn't for that. And most times I use the money for the ministry, but at this time I'm like, I need to get this ministry off the ground. So when I found this, that's when y'all heard from me that November. I was able to take my laptop. They helped me get into my emails at Best Buy. I what else did I do? Yeah, I had to pay for that, and it was some other things, and I was able to get something to eat. I was able, because my mom, her food was separate from me. She wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, I was like, oh my God, praise God for that. But that's when I started. Of course, I didn't have Wi-Fi. I would have to go to my friend's house. That's why y'all would see me at certain different places. But I was able to just try to get back up on my feet, right? So again, fast forwarding, I was able to, um, with unemployment, save up some money, and I got a car. I had that car 5 days. 2 days apart, I got hit from behind from this girl who was 20 something years old. She practically didn't do anything to this car. And we're going to revisit this car story. The next 2 days, a 17-year-old hit 17. You hear this? Hit the back of my car, knocked me and my little girl's lemonade, Chick-fil-A lemonade, from the front of the car to the back of the car. I mean, she waylaid my car, okay? And this girl was 17. My daughter is 17. And I'm like, what? 2 days apart? I'm in two different accidents? What? Really? And both times hit from behind. But what Satan meant for evil, it was turned around for good. Because, of course, I end up having to get a new car. Mind you, you guys, I'm in another car that kind of favors my other car, much cheaper. The note is, mind you. And um, what else? And just, Lord, I give God all the glory for that. Because he said, whatever you lose for his name's sake, he would give it back 100-fold. And so I have another car, and it's a different version, but they look alike. It's the FX35. But anyway, um, I left my mom's house and I went to go stay in a hotel that basically was kind of like all bills paid, because at this point I have a job. You know, things are looking up. Glory to God. And it was like $1,200 and some dollars a month. and I had been looking for an apartment for me and my daughter to stay. Nobody. I couldn't get anywhere to stay in Shreveport where I used to live. Nowhere. Nobody. I didn't want my credit checked because what I had been through, losing everything. I mean, everything. All I had was a basket of clothes at this point. But you guys, the blessing is the Lord favored me. He put it on this guy's heart. Um, he's an Italian. And a lot of people would say, um, my, and I hate to say this is sad, but sometimes you get people of your own kind that will treat you like you're scum of the earth. I mean, I couldn't believe the questions that I was being asked, even after telling them my story, what I had been through in a short synopsis. But this guy just heard briefly what I said on the phone. He's Italian, very nice guy. And he was like, listen, I don't know you, but you sound genuine. He was like, I'm going to give you a chance. If you want to rent the house, you're welcome to it. And he's like, it won't be available until 2 months from now because it was a military family in here at first. And I'm just, I'm elated. I'm happy. I don't have furniture still to this day, but I am happy. You hear me? I wanted, and Lord forgive me because I think I had told y'all before, this testimony, oh, and that diagnosis that they tried to stick me with when I left there, tell me why they said, oh, it was much improved, and that then they changed my diagnosis to um, um, myxedema or something like because I had swole up my hands. They gave me some medicine that my hands had swole, my feet had swollen, my face had swole up, and I questioned him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's myxedema," and I said, "And myxedema is what? It's associated with thyroid problems." And he just looked at me. I'm like, I ain't lying. I'm in the medical field. You can't get me like that. And but long story short, I wasn't diagnosed. They changed my diagnosis to thyroid issues. You're doggone right. This one ain't crazy. I ain't crazy. But it's just looking back. I talked to another friend of mine. Her name is Nikki, and y'all, it blew my mind when she said that she went through the exact same thing. The exact same thing earlier part of this year. I said, what? Y'all, our stories almost mimicked each other. She see these numbers like we do too. And I was like, are you kidding me? She was like, no. Her family thought she was crazy. And I was like, wow. Wow. I mean, people, when they pass by and look at me, some family, they be like, how did she do that? How did she get that? What did she do? Who gave her that? How did the Lord did? The Lord was with me, y'all, the whole time. This place, like I said, I finally have an ironing board and an iron. The little blue sofa I have in my living room was left by the military guy that had this place. I still have my air mattress. My daughter have a bedroom set, of course. Um, I know I'm gonna get furniture and stuff eventually. As of next week, I won't have a job, but I'm happy. I have a kitchen table, which I'm sitting at now. I did buy that. I have a kitchen table with chairs and all that. I have pots and pans, thanks to a friend of mine, and dishes and things of that nature, and a shower curtain. But you know, I need some things. So eventually, at some point, long as I have a washer and dryer and somewhere to shower, somewhere to eat, and lay my head, a roof over my head. Nikki had been homeless. Nikki had been sent to what you call them, don't send, y'all got another video to do regarding how to handle this type of things, because you do not send your family members to places like that. That that type of stuff, they have no regard for people. They treat them horribly. They feed them junk. And most times when people are going, all it is, the natural world called bipolarism, mental disorders, and ADHD, all that is the world's term. We are of a different kingdom. All it is in the spiritual realm is demons. Demons. Those same demons that the Lord Jesus delivered Mary Magdalene out of. Okay? And that's where, looking back, why the Lord let me experience that, because eventually he's going to move me into deliverance. Now, I wouldn't know how to deliver anybody or know what it looked like had I not what been in there, because we know that there are prophets in the Bible that the Lord allowed to go through certain situations to send a message to other people, or to basically tell a story. But this is a testimony to it. And if anybody tell you that you crazy and you know you're not crazy, crazy people don't remember things. Okay, I mean, this woman, I'm hearing them talking. They was like, well, you know, they don't like pans. You got somebody banging a pan up against something. That's gonna get on the same person's nerves. Are you kidding me? Well, we see that such and such said, this is what the counselors did to me. We see that such and such had called such and such the N word, and you didn't do nothing. You know what I told them? I said, that's because I know the difference between reality and rehearsed. And I turned and started looking at TV. Really? Is this what y'all do? Is this how y'all fix people? That is not how you fix people. Do not send your people to places of a rehab center, of a nut house, was what some people call it, the crazy house. Anyway, don't send them your people to places like that. Oh, she depressed. We need to go take her to the hospital. Not in this day and time. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, don't you dare do that. You know what people need like that? Some tender love, care, sleep regenerates the mind. Prayer changes things. Speaking life and peace and joy, comfort, love, letting the person know that they're okay and gonna be okay. Feed them. Somebody going through something, don't kick them out. That ain't what Jesus would do. You sleep with them, you have sex with them. What? And I'm not, y'all, I'm telling y'all the truth. That's what the Lord allowed me to see. I sat there and watched a woman freeze until it brought me to tears. And I told him, I was like, y'all sitting up in here with a jacket on? I was in there advocating for people. And when I tell you, none of the nurses, nobody like that except for two people. They ain't like me. I don't care. I didn't care. They know that was wrong. And then they start letting us come in the living room area with a blanket because I called them out on it. Y'all sitting in here with y'all coats on. Y'all see this 70-some-year-old woman in here, and y'all the 70-some-year-old woman turned on me and started hitting me and said that I was cheating with her husband, sleeping with her husband. I was like, this woman here, I ain't sleeping with your husband, woman. I don't know you nor your husband. And she just kept hitting me. I wasn't finna hit the old woman back. Now, do that sound like a crazy person? No, I wasn't crazy. I just needed rest. I just needed somebody to help me with the business that I needed to take care of, and I couldn't. And it was frustrating the heck out of me because you couldn't do nothing with COVID. You couldn't even get a live person on the phone. Verizon, that cheated me out of my money. Big time. You couldn't go in the library. I couldn't do nothing online. I couldn't figure nothing out. You couldn't be around nobody. It was horrible. I was traumatized. I was, and to know that I couldn't let y'all know that I wasn't okay. But that Thanksgiving, when I did my first video, I was so elated and so happy. Like, oh Lord, things are looking up. The sun is shining. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I mean, it was, oh my goodness. And I had family that tried to turn my little daughter against me. She didn't want to stay with me, y'all. I would cry and cry because what I went through, she had also went through. And I was just hurt to the point of just, I would cry all the time. But if God delivered me out of that, and I thank Him for allowing me to go through that, to really see what happens in them type of facilities and what it really is and how you really deal with it and how you treat it. And y'all, I got a video to do to talk about it, how you handle mental disorders and things of that nature. This is what the world call it, but the spiritual realm call it demons. And you handle it with prayer, with fasting, with laying hands on the sick and casting out these demons. And this is where we're getting ready to go. This is where we're getting ready to go. The book of Acts is getting ready to come forward. The prophets is getting ready to come forward. The miracles, the signs and wonders is getting ready to come forward. But all glory to God. I'm happy now. And He delivered me from that miry clay, that pit, that, oh my goodness. I'm so grateful, so thankful. And my God gets all the glory for me to sit here and be able to tell you this story. I didn't even think that I was going to be able to. That's just the gist of it. But I spent days on the streets, no food, nothing to drink. And you know what I was doing? I would see homeless people and would give them money. And me, myself, wouldn't have anything to eat. I cried when I couldn't give. I gave one person $20 and I couldn't give the other guy any money. And he said, "What about me?" Oh man, it just like broke me. Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And that's my ministry, is to help the homeless too. It's 1 hour and 44 minutes. So anyway, You guys, I'm gonna get off here. You guys be blessed. Okay? Have a nice night this late. Good night. Oh, what is wrong with this thing? Yes. Uh, 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 uh. I'm sorry.